Namaste, my friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening process. And today I'm going to share with you some pre-awakening signs, some signs and indications that maybe your friends and family are beginning to start their awakening process. For a while, I really felt that a good majority of people were it was hopeless for them. It seemed to be there were two trains, and one of them were of people becoming more positive, more awake, and other people seemed to be cloaking themselves more deeply into their ego self. But what I'm finding, an interesting and fascinating and hopeful phenomenon, is that even though that might have been accurate, sometimes as people begin to try to densify themselves, they start to almost create their reality from that dysfunctional ego self and attract into their lives situations that are unpleasant, but potentially powerful catalysts to awaken them and have them jump over to the other train. I've seen people in my own life now who, again, I thought were completely hopeless, there's no way they're gonna catch up, and now they're waking up. So anyways, and now a lot of people, it's a concern. You start to realize what you're going through, and you look around and you say, not many people are joining me, in a sense. And it can be kind of scary and sad. People who you care about, you feel like they're taking a different path. But I'm here to say that just in my recent experience, it's never too late. And I'm going to share with you some signs that maybe your friends and family are starting to wake up. Sign number one is people manifesting big consequences into their lives. For example, my brother-in-law, I watched become his alcoholism really got out of hand, and he just went way off the deep end and started messing up big time. Me, what sort of catalyzed my awakening, which I can now see, was a heroin addiction. Not only that, but a really fast downward spiral with my addiction. Oh wow, Victor's lost, he's a junkie. But because I got so lost, I had my life became so dire, my situation became so dire, it kind of catapulted me onto a different path. And even though I had to temporarily descend quite a bit, it sprung me up like a kangaroo. So don't feel like it's a lost cause, because sometimes people need these situations to wake them up, which is that I see those as kind of a microcosm for what we're seeing with the weather and just the earth events. They're on the surface, they're very dark and scary, but they hold a tremendous amount of potential to catalyze people to shaking out of their groove and opening up to something different. Number two is they might show some or display some attraction to the proverbial light. What I mean by that is, I will say my mother-in-law, I would never have taken her for one who was going to awaken, quite honestly. And yet I always look at her bookshelf. She's got a bunch of books whenever I'm at her house. And it'll be a bunch of random stuff that I'm not really interested in. And then there'll be a Deepak Chopra book or not Nostradamus. So these books that they can open you up. Whether you take it all verbatim, I'm not saying that, but it's in a sense an expression of higher consciousness that there's an interest in. She bought the book. She has a bunch of books like that. My dad, one time I let read The Power of Now, the Eckhart Tolle book, and he was really digging that for a while. He was in the now, and again, he's gone through a lot of tough times, so it's hard. It might be harder for some people who have had challenging lives to wake up. But that you might notice that there's some attraction to the proverbial light, as I mentioned. You might see people going through similar expansions and contractions. I noticed this with some of my personal training clients when I was training them. They would come in, and the way they were talking and the way they were looking, I could sense they were just being very triggered and going through a lot of the symptoms, and just in a really dark, negative space. I could perceive their toxicity at the surface. And then they'd come in a week later, and there was they were better and more connected than ever, and they were real positive, and you could see that they let go of what they were just wrestling with, and they were expanded and feeling awesome. and led to like new habits. I had one client who started journaling and did little stuff like that. You see them go down and then come out with a whole new perspective, and you just start to see that process playing out in their lives. But they don't really know what's going on, but you can see it. It's kind of obvious when you can recognize it in other people when you've gone through it yourself. Number 3 is they show some awareness of the deception, the collective deception, and the hypocrisy of just the different, government organizations and institutions and the media, and there's just a real skepticism, whereas they might have before just kind of blindly, like robots, allowed the news to tell them what's going on in the world. They're starting to kind of question the reality, question the authority, and they might be pissed off about it, like it's something new. Like, oh my goodness, can you believe this is happening? It's such bullshit. I can't believe I haven't seen it before. And so that's good. That's a sign that they're waking up to an extent where they can see that. A lot of people don't see that. They're still completely closed off to that being a possibility. And just lastly, in general, they're starting to express signs of their spiritual growth, even if they're not putting it in spiritual terms. There are not that many light workers compared to like the whole world. And a lot of people the light workers in a sense are doing their job. Regular old people are starting to wake up. But they're not going to necessarily be attracted to all the esoteric sort of information that you and I might dig, and it might not be their thing. So they might express their higher consciousness in different ways. I had this one buddy, my good friend Marv. He was like a really extremely religious man, very fundamentalist Christian, takes the Bible word for word, literally every word in it. But even though he's got these like rigid belief systems, I can tell when he talks about it, and just life in general, he's expressing higher consciousness just through these different ways of expressing it. It's not so much that an indication of wakefulness based on what you're into. It's more of just how the light can be expressed in anything. You might see people expressing their growing light in a lot of different ways. Again, not necessarily, and oftentimes not the same way you would express it, but the light is the important part nonetheless. Just people will start maybe expressing just personal revelations that give an indication that they're really waking up. They're waking up to how they tick, and it's becoming like an issue for them where they're looking inward and drawing conclusions, just like you and I. So this is not some kind of official list. It's just to hopefully give you guys some hope, because I see these patterns playing out with people I know, and for me it's kind of easy, honestly, without even needing a sign, to kind of see whose consciousness is growing and whose isn't. And I would honestly guess it's the same way for you guys. But I know in the beginning I had a lot of misperceptions of what waking up really represented, so I was closed off to these different signs for a while there. So I wanted to share them with you in case you might be concerned or worried about like no one making it, quote unquote. But I don't know, maybe look around your life, see if you're recognizing these signs. I'm personally seeing them a lot more in a lot of people, and again, in a lot of people who I'd have never in a million years imagined had the potential to ride this ascension wave that we're all kind of on. So it's very hopeful and very beautiful to see. And I'm singing a different tune now, and I really believe it's possible for just about anybody to wake up at any time. So I don't count anybody out anymore. Anyways, I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys. It'd be very interesting if you could share your thought, because I only have my own little life and some of the people I coach and stuff. But I'd be very interested if you guys notice any of your friends or family waking up. If you wouldn't mind, leave a comment below and just say something. It'd be kind of cool for us all to see what's going on. It would give a nice, clearer picture rather than just my own perspective, Victor's. So anyways, again, I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Regardless, have an amazing day, my friends. Thank you for all your love and your likes and the support and your kick-ass, warm, loving comments you are always leaving me. It's I'm so touched that I'm helping you, and you guys just tell me it all the time, and sometimes it's hard for me to even like wrap my mind around. But it's not it's not even like me, I feel like. It's just like what's happening collectively is helping, and it's being expressed through me in this way, and you're all doing this, having the same effect in your own way. So thank you for your support and your participation in this global awakening as well. Have an amazing day. Have a kick-ass weekend. I'll see you all soon. Namaste.